This video is sponsored by Square Enix. Alright, enter your chance to win a copy of Marvel Avengers, your choice, PlayStation or Xbox. All you have to do to win is subscribe, leave a like and a comment on this video. Welcome to Marvel Avengers, it's Abyss, and in this video, I'm going to show you my Thor build and go over all the gears, skills, and abilities. Okay, so starting with the gear, and let's go over the arm first. On a first perk, it is a 42.4% chance that a light combo finisher will grant a defensive buff. Now that buff will last 12 seconds, and it's really easy to do a light combo finisher. All you have to do is a basic tack 4 times in a row. Now the middle one will be interchanged with all different type of elemental damage, so that one's not a big deal. Now the third one on the list is a 225% increase of willpower recovery from a Warrior's Fury. Now that one is not too bad either, so I'm going to show you all that in action real quick. Okay, so pay close attention to where my health is at. I'm going to activate the Warrior's Fury, and then you can see how fast I will get back to 100%. Next, I'm going to show you how easy it is to activate that defensive buff. All you have to do is a light combo finisher, which is 4 basic attacks in a row. Make sure you have this skill unlocked in order to do a light combo finisher. I don't remember if this is unlocked automatically at the beginning of the game. Okay, so moving on to my grip. So we have 3 perks on this one, and the first one is greatly increases the ability to find the target and hit them on any return flight. Now the second one is pin enemies will take damage over time. It could be any one of those elemental damage, doesn't matter. And the last one is increased critical attack damage by 33.8% when the hammer is returning from flight. So the first and third perk will work hand in hand. So now it's time to show you that in action. Okay, so you'll notice when I throw the hammer out there, it will zigzag back looking for targets to hit. And then on the return flight back, it will have that increased critical attack damage by close to 34%. And then we have my second perk, which is pin enemies will take elemental damage over time. I will go over that a little bit more in the video when we get to the abilities. I absolutely love this piece of gear. I don't even really have to aim for a target because I already know on the return flight back, it's going to be looking for targets to hit. So this piece of gear, I will definitely max this one out. Next, we're going to be moving on to our chest plate, and then we have 3 perks on this one. The first one is a 12% chance perfect evade grants a small willpower burst. And then the second perk can always be changed out with different elemental damage, but it has a 14.3% damage reduction from cryo damage. And the third one, which is really nice, which is damage taken is reduced to 86.5% of normal when critically injured, which is below 25% willpower. So now let's show you everything in action. Okay, so I slowed it down so you can see the willpower burst. You can see where my health is at right now, and it did say that it's a small recovery, so it's not a lot that you're going to get back. So for the next one, which is the damage taken is reduced to 86.5% of normal. You can see now my character is glowing blue. So that's how you know that this is active. So when I removed that chest piece and I jumped off the edge again, my character wasn't glowing blue. So when your character is glowing blue, then you know that this is active. Okay, so our next piece of gear is the belt, and this one has only 2 perks, but I absolutely love the first one. It is an 8.6% chance when defeating enemies to activate a Jarvis barrier. The barrier will protect against damage for 20% of maximum willpower. So it will last as long as that willpower is there, or it will last for a full 60 seconds. And then the second perk is increased charge rate of the heroic ultimate ability by 18%. So now I'll show you that in action. Okay, so it's going to show up after I defeat the next enemy. It will last for either 60 seconds or until the barrier is depleted. I absolutely love this one because it will absorb all damage. Plus on this armor piece, we have that increased charge rate of the heroic ultimate ability by 18%. So this piece of armor I am definitely going to fully upgrade. Okay, so moving on to the minor artifacts. So for these two, I look for something that's going to increase my abilities and make them, charge faster. So for this one right here is the increased charge rate of the heroic assault ability by 18.4%. The other ability, it's not too big of a deal if you can find something that fits your playstyle. But on the second one, the support ability charge rate is only 2.5%. So most likely I'm going to probably try to replace this one for something better. But those are the two right there. And 130 is the max level that you're going to get on the gear. You're going to have to fully upgrade the last 10 levels in order to get it to 140. And the major artifact is what's going to push you to the max level 150. So keep that in mind. When you're going through these gear, 130 is the max. So once you find that piece of gear that you absolutely love, you make sure it's 130, and then you're going to fully upgrade the last 10 levels. But just keep in mind that the resource requirement will be just a little bit more for those last 10 levels. Okay, so now it's time to move on to these skills and abilities. Now I'm not going to show you every single one of them. I'm just going to show you the ones that I feel that are most important, that I like the most, and I use the most too. So starting off with the light attack, right here is the hammer spin. You want to unlock this one and then the two right below it. I absolutely love this attack right here, and it has high stun, so this is really good to have. And whenever you're trying to complete an objective, this skill is really good to use. Now I'm going to show you a quick example of that.
Another junction down.
Okay, so moving on to the heavy attack, and this one's called the Thunderstruck, and this is a nice one too to use because it has high stun. Just like the other one before, I like to look for things that have high stun so that you could be able to perform a takedown faster. So I'm going to show you a quick example of this. Okay, so we have another one in the heavy attack, and it's called Bring the Thunder. This is another one with high stun, and I like to use this one a lot too. So let me show you a quick example of this. Okay, so moving on to the hammer skills. Now if you remember earlier with that grip piece of armor, how I was able to pin enemies and they would take elemental damage over time, you're going to want to unlock these three hammer skills so that you can pin enemies. The first one will just allow you to pin one, but the third one I'm going to show you will allow you to pin two enemies. This is definitely a great skill to have because it will help you against tougher enemies. So let me show you an example of that.
You will all kneel, or you will all fall!
Okay, so moving on to the support heroic ability. So the way this works is when you use the Warrior Fury, you can unlock a couple different boosts. Now this is going to mainly fit your playstyle. So what I ended up going with was the first one right here, which nearby teammates will receive a temporary damage boost of 25%. And then on the other one, I decided to go with increased critical attack damage by 25% and critical attack chance by 10%. But for this section here, this is more or less going to be how is your playstyle and what you prefer to have boost. Alright, so next is the Assault Heroic ability, and this will give you 2 boosts for your God Blast. So on the right side, I went with the first one, and with this one, God Blast will inflict 15 increased normal and stun damage against shocked enemies. And then the one on the left, I went with the first one, and it will hold up to 3 charges of the God Blast. So let me show you a quick example of that and why I like it.
Another foe vanquished.
Okay, so next is the ultimate heroic ability, and this is with the Bifrost. So on the right side, I went with this one right here, which is automatically activate Odin Force Overcharge when returning from the Bifrost. I thought that was nice to have. But now with the left side, I went with the one with the healing one right here first, and then I said, let me try this burn one real quick. And I absolutely love this one right here, so I definitely recommend this one. I'm going to show you a quick example why. You know, some of the objectives where you need to stay in the circle until Jarvis is done. This one right here is going to help out a lot with that. So let me show you a quick example.
Come on! We can't let him win! Open the gate! I'm almost done. Hang in there.
Okay, so now moving on to the last section, which is the mastery. Now keep in mind, you need to be at level 15 before you'll be able to unlock this. Plus, this is going to be more to your personal playstyle. So I'm just going to go over what I like and recommend. Starting with the melee. Over here on the left, I went with the increased melee stun damage by 15%. Then in the middle, I went with the increased damage by combo finisher by 25%. And the one on the right, I went with willpower recovery. Every time I do a takedown, I'm going to get 50% of my willpower back. So let me show you an example of that. Okay, so moving on to the ranged. Now, for the first one on the left, the first and the second one, actually, you do not want these if you want to be able to pin enemies because it will disable them. So I went with the third one right here. And then in the middle, I went with the third one on the bottom because range attacks with the hammer will break through blocking enemies. I thought that was going to be definitely useful. Then the one on the right, any one of the three will work. It doesn't matter which one you pick. Okay, so for the last 6, this is going to be more or less your personal play style, but I'll just quickly go over what I picked. So on the left right here, I went with Force of Will. Dealing damage while Odin Force is active will recover 1.2 of your willpower per hit. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it was kind of useful to have. Then in the middle, I went with Takedown Charge. So takedowns will grant 30 points of your Odin Force energy. Then the one on the right, I went with increase the automatic regeneration speed of the Odin Force energy by 12%. I thought that was definitely going to be useful. So for the last section with the overcharge, I went with the lightning field. When overcharged, surrounding enemies will be struck by lightning. The one in the middle, I went with the top one. Increased damage resistance by 50% when Odin Force is overcharged. I thought that definitely was going to be useful. And then the last one right here, I went with damage force. Increase all damage by 15% when Odin Force is overcharged. Alright, there you have it. That is my Thor build, gear, skills, and abilities. If there's anything else that you would change or maybe you would add, please leave it in the comments down below. Other than that, I hope you all enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to support the channel, and I will see you next time.